Ecclesiastes 11, looking at the end of the passage. Young people, it is wonderful to be young. Enjoy every minute of it. Do everything you want to do. Take it all in. But remember that you must give an account to God for everything you do. So refuse to worry and keep your body healthy. But remember that youth, with a whole life before you, is meaningless. So refuse to worry and keep your body healthy. Here he's encouraging young people to enjoy their life. And this is something I've talked about, where it seems that you kind of have two extremes. You have people that are actually degenerates and they don't plan for the future and they don't think about the future. So they spend all their time drinking and smoking, right? And not saving up money. You can only do that for so long before that lifestyle starts to deal you a bad hand. It's, something comes up and you're not financially able to, whatever, get another car or repair your car, or you drink so much that you make mistakes and do some stupid stuff, knock a girl up or something, right? So that one extreme doesn't last very long, and it's just very obvious if you live that lifestyle. But then there's the other, which seems to be often the approach that a lot of people these days, like, it's like they're compensating for the times by saying that you don't need to enjoy your youth, you need to just work harder so that all of these struggles you're dealing with, you know, they go away and they don't matter anymore, right? But that's a cope. That's not addressing the real problem. He says here to enjoy your youth, right? And it seems like there's a big problem where people aren't dating and getting married, right? And it's just become a big thing, and they're talking about it now on the influencers and the political stations and whatnot. And it seems to be like the message to young men is like, well, just lock in and work harder, earn more money, because the financial system, like, it's so bad you can't buy a house and all that stuff, right? So the idea is, instead of addressing the real issue, we're just gonna pump out content to tell men, lock in, men, earn more money to afford that 2 bedroom, $500,000 house with like a 20 square foot backyard. And they're like, well, you're just gonna have to earn more money and lock in and become a millionaire. It's like, that's not the answer for the everyday, Joe Schmo, is become a millionaire at the age of, by the time you're 30. That's insane. But that's like the message of a lot of these influencers. But a lot of these influencers don't realize that they themselves got lucky. There's a degree of luck, and not everyone can hit it big like that. Like, I'm reading this part right here. The fastest runner doesn't always win the race. This is in Ecclesiastes 9. And the strongest warrior doesn't always win the battle. The wise sometimes go hungry, and the skillful are not necessarily wealthy. And those who are educated don't always lead successful lives. It is all decided by chance, by being in the right place at the right time. People can never predict when hard times might come, like fish in a net or birds in a trap. People are caught by sudden tragedy. That was Ecclesiastes 9:11 through 12. So yeah, instead of addressing the real problem that's making it unbearable and tough to buy and afford a house, instead of addressing the thing that's causing these, low fertility rates, low birth rates, people not dating or getting married, they're not addressing it. And even the young guys that, like, the influencers like Jordan Peterson and stuff that say they're on your side, I mean, a lot of times they're from a different generation, different time. Now they've gotten so big, they're part of like the elite class, and they're just their solutions are going to be largely impractical. They're going to ignore what's going on, and I just noticed a lot of that, a lot of turning a blind eye. A lot of these guys are turning a blind eye to what's really going on here, and it's kind of sad. So, so yeah, anyways, it's like they're not addressing the real problem. They're just saying, essentially what they're saying, and the point of me saying this, right? They're saying to forsake your youth and to give up your youth and to dedicate all of your time to earning money, getting more jacked, um, doing more things, and then eventually you'll have enough money, you'll be fit enough, good looking enough, and that you'll be able to deserve these things, to be able to buy a house and to be able to get a wife. It's like, no, you don't need to become a millionaire to get a wife. And if you do, if you need to get a certain amount of money and be jacked and do all those things, then something is severely wrong with society. And you're not helping it by ignoring the problem and actually just feeding into that, by encouraging men to keep doing that, getting better, bigger, stronger, wealthier, so that you can have a kid, a wife and a kid. It's like, that's not sustainable. Most men are not going to be able to do that. They're not going to do that. Even if they live decent lives, they're not going to reach higher and climb up that ladder, which, you know, if you're doing it, I'm all for it. I'm kind of trying to do that myself. So if you, even practically speaking, if you're calling all men to be the one percenters, by definition, it's not going to happen because that's 1%, you know? So you can't all call all men to be in this, like, crazy percentile of men and call them all to be that. It's not practical. They're not going to do it. And then, even if you get a lot of them to, the, you know, like, it's not going to be enough to be sustainable as a society, you know? It's like this whole white genocide going on is like ridiculous. Ridiculous in the sense that it's true, but we just keep ignoring the problem. I don't know why we do. It's very evident, like birth rate among, you know, young white guys getting married and gals getting married and having kids is just plummeted. They're not having kids, and they're literally going to be a minority. They're not going to be a majority by like 2045, I think, is when it dips below 50%. And it's crazy. So you've literally been kind of breeded out of your society, out of your country, and it's nuts, you know? And it's not that I got a problem with there being other races and stuff, and we are a country of immigrants, but it's just kind of funny how it started with, like, largely, you know, European, you know, German, Italian, Irish kind of deal, and English. And now you guys are becoming a minority. Like, how pathetic. That's funny, you know? All your ancestors died for you to die out. They all died fighting for this country and fighting for their freedom, for you guys just to stop having kids and just to die out. And that's not to pick on anybody, right? Because I don't have any kids. I'm recognizing the problem. I'm recognizing that I'm part of the problem in a sense that I'm being affected by this, right? So, yeah. So anyway, do everything you want to do, take it all in, but remember that you must give an account to God for everything you do, so refuse to worry and keep your body healthy. Here's something I'm thinking of too. Refuse to worry and keep your body healthy. Those two things are going to help you to enjoy your youth. At least that's what he seems to be saying here. And those two things are big struggles today. There is nothing but there's fast food and junk food and preservatives that are very clearly bad for you. Very clearly they're not healthy, they're not natural. And that's what all the places are selling, what all the places are making, right? I mean, everything. Our grocery stores, there's like a small section that's produce, And then the rest of the store is highly processed, not healthy. And the funny thing is, they even take things that could be natural and good. Maybe it's like breads or crackers or um, certain juices or whatever, and they will add stuff to it that makes it not healthy because it brings them a better profit, because it makes, the process of making it easier or preserve longer, better shelf life, so they can put it on the shelves and it'll stay good long. Just whatever, man. They just fill it with bad stuff and stuff they don't even have to, man. Like, it's one thing if you're getting an Oreo, right? Or you're getting a cookie. It's like it's gonna have chocolate in it. But they'll take something like juice, and there's like a good way to make it, and they'll just throw a bunch of fructose corn syrup in it. So everything out there is trying to steal your health, right? It's not like, oh, it's just the occasional treat and sweets. I'll do that. It's like even the good food, man. They're cooking it in not good ways. They're taking something that could be delicious and they're frying it in peanut oil and seed oils. It's like there's a good way to make it. If you're a chef, the right seasonings, you can cook it and it'll taste great. But they just want to dip it in that peanut oil and it'll be a fast, quick, they can pull it out and keep that line running. And it's really profit driven, right? I mean, just everything is so unhealthy. Even your produce can have like microplastics in it and all kinds of crap, man. It's kind of depressing to think about. So it says, refuse to worry and keep your body healthy. Refuse to worry, that's the other part, right? I mean, all the news stations are focused on making you worry. They know their numbers are higher when they can bring in negative content, when they can report on negative things, and even if they're stretching the truth. It's been proven that they stretch the truth. They need you to worry so you keep coming back to see the latest update on whatever's going on. Even the influencers and the guys online and YouTube and stuff. Now, there are things to worry about. For sure. Things that I talk about that we need to be concerned about. But there's also just this general idea that like there's like a clickbaitiness to content that's always like trying to get you to click on something, to get you worried, and that's an easy way to get a view. There's a lot of negative stuff out there, and there's a lot of negative things that are happening, but we don't need to consume more than we need to, right? We don't need to add to that list if we can avoid it. So yeah, people are worrying and people are very unhealthy. I mean, the obesity is insane. I mean, just go into a Walmart, man. Just go into a Walmart. And I like Walmart, but you start to see it, man. I think that was like something that once I started working out, right, and like taking fitness seriously, and I still am trying to take it more seriously. There's still some more things I want to do, shed a little bit more and bulk a little bit more. So I'm definitely not where I want to be. But once I got some muscle on and started watching what I eat and how I look, I mean, I started to see it, dude. It wasn't until I got to that stage where I myself was healthier that I started to notice, because I was in that world, consuming that content, working on my body and my health. So I started to see what people put in their grocery carts like I didn't before. And I started to see how big people were and what they ordered. And it's insane, man. It's like a cultural thing. It's like, to be an American, you got to be a little bit fat. You got to be a little bit pudgy. Like, that is the norm. The norm is like, it's not like the norm is just, not a lot of muscle, just like not super thin, but just like a little bit of whatever. And then you know. And then there's the outliers that are fat, and there's the outliers that are really like gym bros. No, the norm is you're either like deathly thin, so the reason you're not actually healthy, you just, whatever, your metabolism or whatever, you don't have any muscle on you, and you got a little bit of skinny fat going on, and you're just gangly, right? That's like one option. And the other option is that, which is not fit, and the other option is that you're just severely overweight, or you're pudgy. Not even severely overweight, you're pudgy. That is like the average. Like when, if you're like in a gym, or not a gym's a bad example. Like if you're in church and a girl walks in, you'll notice, like it'll be a big deal if that girl is somewhat fit, because she's an outlier. A lot of times the girls that walk in, for some reason, it's like, to be an American, especially to be a girl in America, you have to have like an extra 20 pounds of fat. Like, you have to be a little bit pudgy. You have to have a little bit of a mutton top, some of the thunder thighs, as they say. And same with guys. Like, now I notice when I see guys that work out in the gym, like I can tell, like I know immediately. I'm like, that guy works out. I know probably about how much he works out, how long he's been working out, or a guess. And you don't see it a ton, man. Even in the guys that aren't super fat, like you'll just realize, like, wow. Like when you see someone that works out, you'll notice it, man. You'll see it. And I think when you're in the gym, you see it a lot more because obviously they're working out. So anyone in the gym, doesn't mean they'll all be fit, but they're there to work out. So you'll see a higher percentage of fit people in the gym. But when you're not in the gym, man, the average is pudgy. Pudgy guys, pudgy girls. For some reason, there seems to be more pudgy girls than pudgy guys. I don't know why. There just does. And I know girls aren't as good at losing weight, so I think when we got all the seed oils and we got the bad food, it's affected the girls the most. That a lot of them are pudgy and fat, and that's kind of disappointing. I have heard that obesity has gone down, like for the first time in a long time, by a lot. So that's pretty cool. I hope we keep going in that direction. So the key to enjoying your youth is to not worry and to keep your body healthy. Both of those are tough things. To keep your body healthy, you have to dedicate a certain amount of time to physical activity and eating right. And that in and of itself is tough. So having a good routine, you gotta have a good routine. And I think a lot of people try to go balls to the wall 5 days a week to the gym. Try to keep it to 3, if you can, to start. And that's something, I was going 5 to 6 times a week, sometimes even every day. And eventually, after like a year, I did get burnt out, and I took a few months off, and it was just not good. So now I'm kind of getting back to that area where I'm finding something that fits with my schedule, and maybe that's 3 times a week, maybe that's more. I haven't figured that out. But find a consistent, doable amount. Watch what you eat. Just don't order the bad stuff. Have all the beef and the meat and all the stuff you need in your fridge. Go with the Diet Cokes. And then refuse to worry. That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one for me, if I'm being honest. It's hard not to worry. It's hard not to be frustrated. Like when you want change, that desire for change is a good thing. But it can come from concern. It can come from a sense of righteousness that you want things to be right, and you're unhappy with when things are wrong or unjust or just not good. But it can very quickly become worrying, right? So you have to want to be the change, cause change, without letting it fall into worry. Because that'll keep you from enjoying your youth. Right? And then just remembering, the wise sometimes go hungry and the skillful are not necessarily wealthy. People can never predict when hard times might come. You can be caught in sudden tragedy. So, we seem to lift up these like gurus and stuff that made it big, that hit it off. Like even what's his face? Jordan Peterson, right? He was a professor, right? And then he kind of blew up into a big name. He started writing books and then started going on every show. And I don't even watch him anymore. I'm not a big fan of him anymore. But he was pretty great to begin with. But now from what I hear, he's kind of got some, I don't know. I haven't been hearing great things. But I don't know if that's true or not. But this idea that, he could still just be a professor. But he was in the right place at the right time. And he's talking about some good stuff, how he blew up. And that's great, right? But you got to understand that you could also have been a professor and said some things similarly, and nothing would have happened. Maybe your students would have liked you and you could have an impact on their life, but you would have never gotten as big as Jordan Peterson, right? So we got to be careful when we look at these guys and we think just because they're successful, just because the algorithm treated them well, just because they're in their position, that they're this really wise person and I should listen to everything that they say. Where it says right here in the Bible, the wise sometimes go hungry, and the skillful are not necessarily wealthy, right? So we should look at someone's fruits, their results. If they're extremely bad, maybe don't listen to them. But also realize that there's exceptions. And just because someone has a lot of views or just because someone has a lot of money or fame doesn't necessarily mean they're right. And I think we know this is true, right? There's a lot of people out there that we just want to shut up and we don't want to listen to them. But they still somehow, rise in the ranks. So, but yeah, try not to worry and keep your body healthy. Those are the main things. Try not to worry and keep your body healthy.